Hi, welcome back to Intuitive Insights in Tarot with me. I'm Scott. Today I'm going to share something with you that I got from a client of mine. As we were talking today, she told me about something that she went through a few years ago, and I think it can help a lot of people here. Maybe a lot of you haven't heard about the birth certificate fraud and how we are not actually subject to the laws of the maritime laws, or Admiralty laws. And she tells a little story about how she went to court and handled this and took control of the court. So I know some people don't believe that this is really a thing, but it is. And she has a good story to tell you. She wanted to remain anonymous, so I've blurred her face for this. And I hope you enjoy it. Hope you learn something. I don't know. What is it you have to share with people? There's got to be something there, you know?
Well, that's the thing too. So I struggle with, well, what is it? What is my topic going to be?
Well, maybe it's this, what you do in your career. You have this, maybe you can help people to become financially independent with some of your knowledge that you have about.
Yeah, I know. I almost think though I should be talking about, I've been so-called awake a lot longer than a lot of people, and I'm not saying I know everything, but no. I actually figured out, someone brought it to my attention, but initially about our birth certificates and all of that. And so back in 2007, I went
that's a long time ago. Yeah, that you learned about that long time ago. So that's good.
Yeah, I learned about that in 2004. And so 2007, I actually went to court pro se for 3 years.
Wow.
Over my mortgage and the birth certificate. And yeah. So
do you have any success there?
Well, I did. However, I finally had a judge that was not corrupt. And he pulled me into private chambers after the 3rd year and said, they sent 10 attorneys against me, pro se. And he looked at them and goes, "Are you kidding me? Really?"
Wow.
And he said in court on the record, to them, and he said, "May I see you in my private chambers? We're going to take a recess, whatever they call it." And so I said, "Yes, Your Honor." So I went into he goes, "Listen," he says, "I don't know your situation. I'm not going to ask you if you know what you're doing, because you obviously know what you're doing, and they don't want this information out." And I said, "Oh, I know." He goes, I gotta tell you, I am concerned for your life at this point, because most people would give up by now. He's like, "I am concerned for your life." And he said, I also, right. He's like, "They won't stop. That's the problem. They have a whole fleet of attorneys that they'll just keep sending." He goes, "I don't know your personal situation, but if you have to work for a living, even though you're representing yourself, you can't always be here when, they schedule these things and stuff." He's like, "Maybe take a break from this whole thing and decide if you want to keep going." Now, I knew this guy was the real deal. And actually he was helping other people. They actually poisoned him. I'm not kidding. A month later, he was poisoned. Now, he lived, and he even said to me, "If I would have known what this was all about, I would never have actually become a judge."
Wow.
And so he's like, "You definitely know what you're doing. The problem is, this is a really big risk, for your own well-being," is basically what he was saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I set precedents in Michigan to a certain degree, but I couldn't win the battle. I couldn't win the war, because every battle they just kept creating more, and Michigan's very corrupt.
Yeah, it was stacked against, the deck was stacked against you.
Yeah, in some states they were successful, because I was working with other people that were doing it in other states,
Yeah.
and they were having success. But in Michigan, it just, yeah. Anyway,
Do you remember the case with that was got a lot of that went around a lot? It was about 10 years ago. It was a mountain man who got a ticket for fishing without a license. And
yeah,
he stated this, I'm a man. And then
yeah,
the judge took a recess and he said, okay, the judge has abandoned ship. I'm out of here. And he walked out. No bailiff stopped him. Nobody stopped him. And I don't know what the follow-up is that whatever repercussions, but I remember that being a huge success.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, I had some legal paralegals helping me from both the East Coast and the West Coast, because they had looked into all this and they were successful themselves in their individual states. So they were helping me, like, so that I knew, like, I had these flashcards and I would read verbatim, and like, you start off and you read to the judge. There's this, I don't remember what the number is, but in the law books, and it basically says if you're going to be pro se, you read this first, because it says they can't hold me to the same standard as an attorney because I don't know all of the legalese necessarily.
Cool.
And the way, I'll tell you, Scott, the hardest part of the whole thing was all the paperwork you have to file. And if you haven't been through the training, like law school or paralegal or whatever, you could miss one little thing and then they throw it out,
Yeah.
and that's how they play their dirty game. And but imagine I was able to get to a very significant point after 3 years of it, though. I mean, not that I was in the courtroom all the time, but like every couple months, 2 or 3 months, I was back in there producing more information or asking for discovery on my side and proving, points and stuff. But the people that were counseling me told me, you'll know you're on the right path because you will take control of the courtroom, and the judge that's been assigned will call the bailiffs forward to his or her, at that time it was a woman and she was very corrupt, to her bench, talk to her and tell her that, I can't remember exactly how it went because it's been a long time, but just they'll have a conversation. She'll dismiss herself and say, I need to turn this over to a higher judge, or I don't know what language they use, but someone. And they said that because there's some judges like up the ranks, like they have to, and then they will move your case to 4 o'clock because they want the courtroom to clear out.
Mm-hmm.
And just, you're going to say certain things, and then when they try to say something to you, order you to do something, then you say, Your Honor, no, I do not accept this. I move the court to blah, blah, blah. And then they have to take action. You should have seen the people, because they were waiting like landlords trying to evict people, or people waiting for parking ticket stuff or whatever. And I'm like, I was like, whoa, this really
you're
works.
a nutcase.
I've got control of the court. And then everyone is saying to me, what is it? What are you doing? What is it that you said? What did you say again? How'd you get them to? And I'm like, it's a long story. And so I would go back at 4 o'clock, and they would do that constantly, because they wanted it to be the last thing they listened to in the day, because they didn't want any people there. They didn't want an audience. They even tried to push the audience out. Anyway, so I don't know, when I talk about topics, I'm like, it feels like I should be talking about not necessarily that, but all of these things that the awakened ones seem to know about.
Okay, allow me to interject here. You got the Seven of Swords. That's what that is talking about. That is using words in a strategic, using words in a strategic way, and then that could help a lot of people. Okay, and I think you just put your finger on what it is you're supposed to be doing. Now, having said that, everybody's saying that we're going to leave Admiralty law altogether en masse and go into common law. But hey, you and I have been waiting 10, 12 years and it hasn't happened yet. It might go on. I'm trying to prepare people for the possibility. They all think it's going to happen like a bolt of lightning from heaven is going to change everything overnight. Don't count on that, people. Don't count on that. Expect this. Expect for the long haul. Hope for that, but expect for the long haul. So this is what I think you're supposed to be doing, Anne. I think you're supposed to be sharing this information. Just tell these stories like what you just told me. If it's been a long time since you've done this, go and get yourself reacquainted with all this information and start sharing this information on YouTube. Maybe you'll reach people that that ordinarily wouldn't have clicked on that topic because the way you look, the way you sound, your authenticity, share where you've come from. I think this is what you're supposed to be doing. Okay.
Okay. All right.
I know I'll tune in, even though, you know, I haven't, the reason why I didn't pursue any of that stuff is because I'm in Thailand, and how can I go into a court at all and do anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not, and listen, I think you need to start putting this knowledge that you have about, you know, the birth certificate and everything out there.
I think, you know, for me, I wouldn't necessarily focus on one specific topic. It's more like just all of the things that I'm awake about. You know?
Yeah, I mean, give it a try. What have you got to lose? You know, the time that it takes to make the videos and.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's helpful because I start exploring the awakened topic and all the different elements that go underneath it. So I'm not like trying to be some kind of expert in any one area.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wouldn't actually encourage people right now to go up against the whole birth certificate thing, because when we do change to Nasara Jasara, which is clearly in the works, that's all going to be taken care of in essence.
Right. It'd be a huge waste of time and energy at this point.
Yeah, it would be. So it's more just to make them aware.
Most people, right. That's what I was just gonna say. People don't even know about it.
Right.
So when it happens, they're gonna be, what is this? What is this common law thing? You know,
what's Admiralty law? What was that? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I hear you. That's what I mean. Like that's another reason why I didn't pursue trying to convince other people. And not that I really don't like to try to convince people. I just like to share it. Either resonates with you or it doesn't, you know, kind of thing.
That's right. It's not our job to wake people up.
Right. I learned that the hard way.
Believe me, I started trying to do it actively for